We're doing this series on choices, and Miss Amanda's going to be opening up this week as far as the speakers that are coming to you guys. And this is all I ask of you guys: is you guys the same respect that you show me, show her the same respect when she's talking. Allow her to tell you this incredible testimony of what Jesus said, or Jesus done to her. And you know, this whole thing is on choices. And what I really want you to get out of this is listen, Aaron. What I want you to get out of this is that you have a decision and you have a choice to accept Jesus. And that's one thing. The other thing is that just because you made that decision and you made that choice to accept Jesus in your heart does not mean you never have no decisions after that. And what they're going to share with you guys in their testimonies is you have decisions to make in order to stay close to Jesus. And you can make some decisions that can get you far away from Him. Does everybody get that? What's their first choice? The first decision is to accept Him. The second one is to stay close to Him. And that's what I hope you guys learn in these series, is that you can have consequences if you make wrong choices. So without further ado, I'm going to give the platform to Miss Amanda, and you guys enjoy this incredible testimony.
Okay, so might be a little nervous. So we know Mr. Robbie is a loud, in-your-face kind of a preacher.
Really?
I mean, which is good, right? I tell my kids all day long that I'm loud, so that's just who I am. I always tell them, I'm not screaming at you, I just have a loud voice. You probably hear me singing. It doesn't sound that great, but it's just my voice, so it's okay, right? And so I'm just here to share something that happened in my life that God really did a wondrous miracle. So I teach, like I said, but I teach little kids where you can do like funny things and they love you no matter what. So this is my first time with you guys, so I'm a little nervous, but it's okay. So I grew up going to church, went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, and the church I grew up in, there was lots of rules. And this denomination was very strict. You know, you could do something and then die and go to hell. And I know Mr. Robbie told you about me constantly waking him up and telling him, you have to pray, you know, and that's kind of where my foundation was it's almost like the fear, you know, don't want to do anything because you don't want to die and go to hell. However, I took that and I was able to still have a relationship with God, and I still wanted to get close to Him. And I really tried to do what was right. And I always wanted to do what's right, not because of fear, but because I love God, and I just wanted to be close to Him. Now, my sisters, I have 3 sisters, and my 3 sisters called me the goody two-shoes. And, you know, my parents thought they thought I was my parents' favorite. And it was only because I didn't want to get in trouble. And so I just always tried to do what was right. And I also learned, I'm the second oldest, and so my older sister, she just got in trouble all the time. And I just saw the consequences, and so I didn't really want those same consequences. So I just decided it's better just to do what's right and then learn from her mistakes. And so, of course, I wasn't perfect, but you know, I really tried to do what was right. And I just always believed that I would make good choices and decisions and not allow myself to go down that path. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful, and He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So this verse kind of sums up and clears up what happened to me. However, God is faithful. He is with us, and He provides a way of escape. So He just wants us to stay close to Him. Okay, so I'm going to take you back to a night where my whole life changed. my friend, her parents went out of town. And so, like every 16-year-old or like every kid in high school, they're like, let's have a party. And so I was like, okay, like I can tell my parents that I'm just going to my friend's house and I'm just going to go hang out. It'll be fine, right? Like, it just starts with that first little lie. And so my parents trusted me. They trusted me wholeheartedly because I was that goody two-shoe, and I really tried to show them that, to live this life of honor. And so I made the decision that night to go to my friend's house, even though her parents were out of town and there was a party. And so I went to my friend's house, and there was drinking, so alcohol. So this is my first night of really, having been exposed to alcohol. My parents did not drink, so it was never in my house. They just, never really been around it at all. And so I was at the party, and I remember, they were giving me a drink. So at the time, I think it was like a wine cooler. And I took my first sip, and it was like, immediately, like, conviction. Like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, I am here, I've lied to my parents, I'm in a bad situation now. And so, but, I had made that decision. And so what do other kids do? I just pretended to be cool. And so I'm holding my drink like, oh yeah. And then eventually I just go and dump it down the sink because that conviction was there. And I was just like, okay, I can't do it. I don't want to, I'm already in this too deep. And so the night goes on, and we had hid my friend's keys from her. And so even during this time, she was drinking way too much. And so when we hid her keys, she got mad. And this is my best friend. And I remember that she got mad at me. And so she was kind of went cray-cray, and she even slapped me at that night, trying to like fight, and I'm like, okay, you're just crazy, like, okay, like, right, she went cray-cray. So,
it sounds like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I knew right then, I'm like, okay, I've made some really bad choices. So then I decided, okay, she's gone crazy, I don't really want to be a part, but I also don't want to call my parents, because my parents, I've made this decision, and I don't want my sins to be found out by my parents, and my decision. So I just went and hung out in the family room, and hours passed, and then eventually she decided she wanted to go somewhere. And like I said, hours passed, she found her keys, and so she decided to leave. And I sat in the family room, and I consider myself, a smart person. However, I had this feeling of, I need to go. And she was actually already out the driveway, like driving away, and I was like arguing. I'm like, no, I'm not going, I'm smart. I know not to get in the car with someone who's been drinking. However, I just felt it, and I just ran after her. I actually remember running down the driveway, chasing her. Remember, she had already hit me, so we haven't talked in like 3 hours. And so I get in the car, we don't really talk. And we go to our next, she was going to her boyfriend's house.
Oh.
So we get in the car, we go, we make it to the boyfriend's house, which is about a mile away from my parents' house. Now remember, I'm supposed to be at my friend's house, and my parents think I'm nice and safe, and I'm not doing anything wrong. And now it's, 12 o'clock in the morning, and so I stay in the car because I'm kind of still mad, and I'm still not trying to figure out why I'm in the car. Like, why did I make this decision? Why am I with her? I'm so mad at her right now. But, so then my friend decided when it was time to leave, she came back, like, I don't know, 45 minutes later. I'm just sitting there, and that was before, like, our cell phones had, like, internet and, like, all these cool games, so there really wasn't much to do but just, But, kind of boring, right? But, so we picked up a friend. This friend was a little bit larger, and it was a boy, and he was a little bit larger, and we were in a Mitsubishi 3000 GT. so it's a sports car. And so he sat in the back, and so I had to push my seat all the way forward for him to fit in the back. And so I'm sitting in the front, and we're heading to take him home. And less than a mile away from my house, we're in the car, and I could tell she was driving fast. And I remember looking over thinking, okay, she's driving really fast. Now, earlier it had rained, and so the roads are wet. And right around the time that we're about to take some curves on, I felt something, which was the Holy Spirit, speak to me and say, grab the cell phone and say a prayer. And so I grabbed her cell phone, and I just remember saying, dear God, please, let's make it through tonight. And then the car goes spinning, and then it all goes black.
Oh, no.
So, the story, of course, didn't end there. See, when you go down the wrong way, you end up trying to cover your sins, which then causes a snowball effect. I call it a snowball effect. So choices can cause multiple outcomes. So I want to kind of talk about 3 outcomes that kind of took place. So number 1, choices can cause a snowball effect. See, I started with one lie. In my mind, it's just one little lie. I can just tell my parents I'm going to my friend's house. I mean, technically, I'm not lying because I went to my friend's house. I just forgot the piece of, hey, by the way, her parents aren't home. Hey, by the way, there's going to be a party. Right? I just left out a part, so in my mind, I'm not really telling a lie. I mean, I'm not telling the whole truth. But then it starts to snowball, because then I have to cover. See, the enemy wants to keep you in this snowball effect by his lies and influences that are put in your life. However, God is constant, and he is consistent, and he has grace and mercy that gives peace. Now, choices can cause pain. Number 2, choices can cause pain. It can be emotional or physical pain. And I had to deal with both physical and emotional pain. See, when I woke up, it's like, they say you see the bright light. And I did. I saw light. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I remember pinching myself. I was like, okay, I'm alive. Okay, I'm alive. And, you see the car smoking, and you see, I just heard sounds. And so I could open my car door. And when I stood up, I could hear my bones cracking. And I got to the ground. My face, I'm bleeding. My arms are burned. And I tried to stand up again, but I couldn't. And the pain started. My physical pain started right then, because now I can't walk. I had to literally crawl back to the car to find the cell phone so I can call for help. Okay? By this time, my ankle's, getting bigger and bigger at the moment. Like I said, the pain started. At first, I didn't feel the pain, but then the pain started. Some of my injuries that I didn't know, of course, until I went to the hospital. But I broke my ankle. I broke my pelvis and dislocated it. I broke bones in my knee. Broke my back. I had scars in my arms. My face was burned. Those are my physical pains that I physically could feel, that I felt for a long time. This was not going to be an easy recovery. And it wasn't. But it also brings emotional pain. See, these friends that I thought were my friends, that was my best friend that would never do anything. And we all have that. I was a teenager, just like you are. Oh, no, my friends wouldn't do that. Not my friends. I said the same thing. I would tell my youth group that. Not my friends. These friends love me. They would never put me in harm. They would always be there for me. However, it became all about them. I'm hurt. I can't walk. Yet, it was, what can we do to cover this up? We're underage. We're drinking. She's been in a car accident. Let's not call the cops, because we don't want to get in trouble. Even went that far that friends came to the accident scene before the cops. They didn't know I called the cops. I called the cops because I was in pain. I thought I was dying because my chest was burned. I was sitting so close to that airbag that I couldn't even breathe. And so they didn't know I called the cops, and they were hoping to just cover up this act. I don't know where they were going to hide the car because we couldn't drive the car because it was demolished. However, they were trying to cover it up because it's that snowball effect. Now we have to cover up this other lie, this other mistake, this other choice. Even as I crawled back to the car, begging for help. Someone help me, I can't walk. It was all about them. They had friends that came, they picked me up, which the doctor said it's a miracle that I wasn't paralyzed because they said that you never pick somebody up from a car accident. They put me in a car. I begged for them to take me to the hospital. They refused. They told me to pretty much shut up. We have to cover up what has happened. We can't allow us to get into trouble. During the most difficult time, they left me in the dark. These are my friends that promised to always be there for me. Yet, as they put me in my friend's room and closed the door and told me, we'll deal with you later. And as the physical pain is taken on, and that pain, I'm in so much pain, and yet I'm helpless. I can't walk. I don't have a cell phone. I can't call for help. These friends just left me because it became all about them and what they needed to do. Choices can also cause consequences. Obviously, some consequences was the distrust in my parents. My parents lost all trust in me. I had disobeyed my parents. But even with these choices, my parents, they didn't turn their back on me. They still loved me. And they still had to be there to help me, just like Jesus was there during my car accident. He never left me, and he showed me his love in a way of complete healing. Also, during this consequence time was a recovery period. We took my family room, and we had to make it into a hospital bed. If I had to go anywhere, an ambulance had to come, and they had to pick me up to take me to physical therapy, or they had to come and transport me. Because when you break your pelvis, you can't walk, and there's really nothing you can do but just lay in a bed. And you have to make sure that it heals back correctly. So we transformed our family room into a hospital room. We had the hospital bed, we had the hospital nice little toilet that you get to sit on, and so it was my consequence was a recovery period. It wasn't just wake up and let's move on, I've made a bad mistake. This recovery period was 6 to 7 months. I was out of school. I had to do hospital homebound. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to start with being in a bed for months, then go to a wheelchair, then go to physical therapy. I know that I wasn't pleasing God this night when I made these bad choices, but God allowed me to make my own choices. However, he was there with me. In Luke 1:37, it says, "For with God, nothing will be impossible." During this time, this verse really helped me. And sometimes we get to a point where we think we've messed up. There's no going back. That we've done too much. God can't really love me anymore. That was the point. I could have said, I've done too much. I can't do anymore. But our God is the God of impossible, and he will not leave you.
Amen.
See, doctors, they told me that I would walk with a limp the rest of my life. They told me that I would not be able to carry kids, that I wouldn't be able to run, that I wouldn't be able to do some of the normal things because of the severity of my injuries. But again, I say, God will find a way. This is where also my faith had to get stronger. As I laid in my new hospital room in my house, I remember, talking to God, but also thanking God, because that night, God saved us. Later on, my dad went back to the scene that night and talked to the state troopers. Because you have to remember, we left the scene of an accident, a major accident. The cops were called. They were searching in the woods. They were trying to find us. As that night, though, when the cops told my dad, they were lucky to be alive. Because just that day, the trees had been cut perfectly where they needed to be cut. Otherwise, he said, where our car hit would not have been a good thing. And so, once again, it's just another way of saying, God was there. He was there. He was protecting us. He's a God of miracles. Even when I made these choices, I made these decisions, my God knows the plans for our life. See, every time I worship and praise and I jump, I'm reminded of how he saved me and how he completely healed my body. Amen. Now, I know I've been called a lot of things. I've been like, she is crazy. Look at that crazy lady. All she does is jump and move and jump around. But I don't worry about that. Because I know that I'm alive. And that I'm alive because God saved me. Because the decisions I made that night, however, God is still with me. I don't care what people think. I've got past that because when I sat in that room and I begged, I talked with God, but I also begged God because I was a teenager. What teenager wants to walk around with a limp? Maybe you do, but I didn't. Okay? And I didn't want to have to go back to school the next year and walk with a limp because then I'm always constantly reminded of that. And I told God, I said, God, please, I will do whatever. And I promise I will always worship you. Even if you don't. Even if I do have a limp, I told him I will always praise you. Because he did save us. He saved us that night. There's no doubt. So sometimes, as teenagers, and remember, I was a 16-year-old teenager, and I had to make that choice that I'm not going to care. For the rest of my life, I'm not going to care what people think, because I know what God did for me. And I can jump, and I can walk. Amen. So, some of you are worried about, I don't want to really raise my hands because, my friend's here, I'm too cool, or this is wasting my time. I don't have time for this, I'm too cool, I'm just going to stand here, I'm just going to put my earphones in, I'm just going to listen to my own music. Most of the time it's, and we've even had adults tell us, it's just not my thing. I just don't want to do that. And it's really, sometimes it comes down to they're worried about what people think. And you have to get to the point that you don't worry about what your neighbor is doing. You have to focus on God and God alone. And know that he is there. And that his ways are the right ways. And not to worry about what others. We don't have to worry about, I'm going to be cool tonight. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm cool, right? But we have to remember that it's not about your neighbor. It's not about you. It's about worshiping the one true God.
Amen.
I want to encourage you to let go and make decisions to worship our God with everything we have. He is so good. God is so good. And he deserves all of our praises. Remember, one bad choice can change your life forever. One bad choice can change your life forever. And some of us think, I won't do that. I was one of them. I would never do that. However, you don't know. I want you to always remember, one bad choice can change your life forever. And I just really hope this helps you when you are facing challenges and know how to stay close to God. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope." Remember, the doctors told me to walk with a limp. I don't have a limp. The doctors told me I wouldn't be able to carry kids and have kids. I have 2 boys. Okay? Everything, because what man sees as impossible, we know that God is in control.
Amen.
Okay? I can jump, and I'm going to jump, and I will always be that crazy lady that's jumping. Okay? And I don't care. I don't care. Okay? And I've never cared because I know that God saved me. And every time I'm jumping, I'm reminded that I'm alive. And I'm alive because of him. I want you just to press in to God and allow him to move into your life. Go ahead and bow your head. thank you so much for allowing me to get through this message. Lord, I just ask that you use my testimony as a way to help others become closer to you and for you to get the glory. Lord, I just pray that you give us wisdom to make the right choices when we are faced with all kinds of different situations. It might be a small situation, it might be a large situation. But Lord Jesus, I ask that we just make those right decisions and that we take the time to think about what could that outcome be of those decisions that we make on a daily basis. Lord, I just pray that we can be the light in this dark world. Lord Jesus, I just pray that these students, Lord, that they just want to be the light. They want to be different. That they make these good choices, Lord, to honor you and to worship you. Lord Jesus, I love you. I thank you. I thank you what you've done in my life. I thank you for a complete healing. Lord, I thank you that I can worship you freely, that I can jump,
Amen.
that I can run, that I was able to have these babies. Lord, I thank you and I praise you. In Jesus' name.
Guys, as I sit in the back and I hear this incredible testimony about how God just had his hand miraculously on Miss Amanda's life. And I know there was some choices in that decision. There was some choices that led to that. And as I'm sitting there listening to this testimony, I know there's some decisions that I got to make personally in my life. And for me to draw myself closer to God, because I by no means can say that I'm the closest. I by no means can say that I've made it, because I haven't made it. It's a daily walk to be close to God. It's a daily decision to be close to God. And I feel in my heart that some of you in this room, it may be a decision that you haven't fully made to actually even have Jesus come in your heart and confess it. Or it's a decision that you've made some choices in your life that you think that you've messed up too much. And you don't know how to get out of it. And I really feel a tug on my heart that there needs to be a release in this room from that. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is I want every head bowed right now. Every head bowed. And I want you to really think about that. I want you to really think about, have you really made the decision to follow Christ and to have him in his heart? Or has somebody told you to make that decision? Has somebody taught that to you? Has somebody told you that this is the way? Guys, it's not about anybody telling you that. It's not about me telling you this. It's about you making the decision for yourself that you want to do it. And it's a decision that you may make right now, but it's going to be some constant decisions moving forward. It's a process that you got to take moving forward to stay close to him. Because you can find, like Miss Amanda, that you make some decisions even after you think you're saved that brings you far away from God. And with every head bowed right now, I want you to really ask in your heart, and I don't want you to care about the person next to you. That's why I'm asking your head to be bowed for. And I'm not going to call you out. It's a show that you want to draw closer to God with your head bowed. If you have a decision that you want to be either closer to God, or you have a decision that you've messed up and you want to just get out of this spot that you're in right now, with every head bowed, just pop your head up, pop your hand up and say, you know what, I would like to change. Guys, I'm the first one that has my hand up here. I am not bashful that I got to move closer to God. I am not bashful that I got to make a decision to be closer to God. And if you feel it right now, just release it. Just say, God, just be with me, God, and take it from me. And God, be with me. That's all I'm saying. It's an act of surrender, guys. It's an act of surrender so that you can have freedom in your life. And you can have God close to you. Guys, if you made that decision, I want you to hold on to it. And if you made that decision, I want you to come. I see the hands up. I know some people in here have made that decision. I want you guys, if you need prayer, come talk to a leader. We will pray for you. We will pray you through this process that you're in, because it's going to be a process. It's not an instant fix tonight. It's a process that we have to be with, and we got to stay close to each other, and we got to be with God, and we got to have God enter into our heart, and it's going to change us by us doing that. But it takes us stepping out and making that commitment that I got to make a decision to do one or the other. So as we sing this song, and as we sing about God, take everything. This song says, take everything. Allow Him to take everything right now. Allow Him to take it. Allow Him to move in your life. That's what this time's for. Don't be uncomfortable because it's silence. Don't be uncomfortable because it seems weird. God's in the middle of this spot right now. Allow Him to move in your life right now. Let's sing this out, guys. Sing it out. Guys, the one thing that I desire the most in here as being your youth leader, being a part of your life, the biggest thing that I desire most is that you feel God's presence in your life. And that's why we give these opportunities. We give these opportunities for you to feel His presence. And some of you, like I said, it might be weird for you. Just understand that it's in these moments that God's working His best. And I can't say enough that in these moments, let God take over your mind, let God take over your heart. Let God move in you, and let God speak to you during these times. It's a wonderful time. And I want to have much, much, much more of these times. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you, God, for loving us so much tonight. Father God, we thank you for showing your presence to us once more time tonight, God. God, I feel you in this room. I feel where you have moved in some people's lives. I feel that you have allowed some people to step out tonight. And maybe it was their first time stepping out. And God, I pray that you're with them. God, I pray that we as leaders and we as fellow youth, that we are to wrap our arms around them, that we are to help them during this process, because God, it's a process. And God, you say that you'll be with us during this process, and we have to follow you in order to know that process. It's not on our own will. It's not because of what we want to do. It's because of what you want to do, Jesus. God, I thank you again for this service tonight. I thank you for speaking to us. We praise you. Allow us to go out of this room tonight, and allow us to go into our schools tomorrow, and allow us to go into our house tonight, and allow us to be the light and that's going to shine, God, and the light that's going to show people and tell people about Jesus. Use us in a mighty way, Jesus. Use us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. You guys can have a quick seat. I did want to show something that I think we missed. That picture of that car was on there, right? Oh, see. It's on there. It's on there. It's on the PowerPoint. I wanted to show you, Miss Amanda had a picture of the actual car that after the wreck. I wanted to show you so that you kind of really seen what was going on with this car.
Ow. Oh. No, that's broken.
Well, we were going to cover that up. They were going to pretend something I don't know.
So listen, that's like real stuff there.
And I didn't say it, but I'm not kidding. When they picked me up from the scene, these people, I didn't even know who they were, and they put me in the car, and when they found out I called the cops, they literally looked at me, and I literally thought I was going to die, because they were like, we're going to kill you. How could you mess this up for us? And I'm like, just take me to the hospital, please! So they went in. They did it.
Good job. Guys, I hope you guys had a good time tonight. Those of you that were brand new tonight, thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of our family tonight. You are family. Please come back and hear us again. We have next week, Mr. Jesse is going to be up here. He's going to share his heart, and I know it's going to be an incredible time again, because it always is. And I love you guys. Thank you for coming out. Papers for the junior volunteer are back if you want to get those. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you.